there, friends, and welcome to day 13 of our 13 Days of Halloween series here at Polly's Paper Studio. If you'd like to check out the first 12 projects, you can find links at the top of the description for the first 12 days so you can catch up. For our final project, we're creating a fun, interactive, staggered page greeting card. And if I'm honest, this is a really good excuse to get into more of those fun pattern papers from the collection because you have a lot more surfaces to cover. So if you would like to make a card like this one for yourself, then stick with me and we will make it together. And remember to stay tuned through the video for details on how you can enter our 13 days giveaway. We're working with the I Love Halloween collection from Echo Park today, the 12 by 12 collection pack that includes the stickers. This is a very fun mix of whimsical images and a not quite traditional color palette. They do have oranges and blacks, but they have also included greens and purples, and I think that just gives it a little bit more of a useful vibe. And so I've got my papers as well as that sticker sheet, which we're going to use later on when we add our sentiment. The base for this is pretty easy actually, and it just takes 2 pieces of 65-pound weight cardstock. My first piece is cut to be 6 high by 11 wide and scored at 5. So we're going to get that overlap and show the lower level. And then the second piece is going to be 6 high by 9 wide, and it's scored at 4. So I'm going to bring these 2 pieces that are 5 inches wide together, and that will give us the staggered page that we need. I'm going to use a combination of the double-sided adhesive as well as my Tombow just to make sure this is very well secured. And I'll just bring these 2 pieces together in the corner and make sure that the edge and the bottom line up to keep everything lined up perfectly. I know this is difficult to see with black cardstock on camera. What we have now is a page section that is 4 inches and then one that is 5 inches, and then our back will be 6 by 6. So that's our traditional card size. So the fun part is going to be adding all of those collection papers to these layers, and I'm going to choose the largest pattern for the back because that will be easiest to see. And so for each of these layers now, we're going to have a different size pattern paper. This one is going to be 5 7/8 high by 5 7/8 wide, and that will give us the border all the way around of our black cardstock. And I do want my pages to match. So the second piece for this section is going to be 5 7/8 by 4 7/8, and we'll just add it over here. I do want to include a section for a sentiment to be added, and I'm gonna just choose this die cut rectangle with a scalloped edge. You don't need a die cut for this. Just make sure there's an area that is neutral enough so that writing will show. Because I have a staggered edge, I want to adhere my die cut for the sentiment over from the edge so that it doesn't show. So I think I'm going to just add mine right here. And then I think it would also be fun to include one of those cut aparts for this page. So this is a 4 by 4, and I think it just looks really cute with that purpley background. It brings out the purple from that witch's hair. So this will be our set of pages in the back, and you can see now we've got a little of that pattern showing. So we're working our way down in scale as we go forward in the book because the pages will be getting smaller. This page is going to be the same measurement obviously as this side, so we're still at 5 7/8 by 4 7/8, and this is also going to be a lighter background, so it will be a definite layering pattern when the card is closed up. Want to finish this page as well, so we're still at 5 7/8, but now we are at 3 7/8 to maintain all of those fun borders. For this page, I want to include another one of those rectangles. This time, however, I want to utilize it as a place for a photo mat could possibly be. And remember that I need to shift that over so that it doesn't show when the pages are closed. So I'm picking a lighter background. This is non-contrasting, so you could write on this or use it as a photo mat. Another option would be to include a strip around for a gift card to be tucked into. So if you have some littles that you want to give a card to, but they don't live near you and you want to give them a treat, you could include a gift card here and then your sentiment on the back page. I think that would be a really fun way to make sure those little special people in your life know that you care. So of course I need to include another one of those cut apart images to this page. This was originally part of a 4x4. It did have a border, so I cut it down so that it would fit a little bit better in the scale that is left. So now I think is a good time to put the back on before we put any of the dimensional elements on the front. So here's just some more paper from that collection. I know that probably reads very harshly on camera, but I did want to make sure that this card was finished on the back just as nicely as the front. Okay, let's flip that over and save your eyeballs. Another thing I want to do before I begin to add the elements for the front is add a ribbon closure, because you see how this wants to pop up because of the layers of paper we added. And I would typically measure this over, find my halfway point and have that positioned on the edge, but because I'm going to bring my bow in here, I want to offset that just a little bit and give myself a little bit longer of a tail for the back so that my bow will be even. And I can easily just go ahead and clip that if I need to get that centered even more. Let's just go ahead and wrap this around. Now I know where my position will be. Tack that into place just with a little hot glue there. Then we can secure that trim sandwiched between this top layer of pattern paper and the base. So once again, I am sorry about that plaid, but we do need to begin layering on some additional patterns and that will help. So I've got this piece here and I just need to extend the amount of space I have to finish the front because I want to include all of my favorite layering details. So I picked a 4x4 size of cardstock and I finished it with a combination of papers. I just layered these because I'm down to the scraps in that collection. So I did arrive at 3 7/8 by 3 7/8 and I just layered that to get the full height that I needed. Because this is going to overlap the edge, I have my adhesive on one side only. And I definitely want to include my second adhesive here to make sure that it's well secured. And I'm just going to position that. I really kind of want the edge of this to line up to that second set of pages. That kind of makes sense to me visually. And I'll just hold that in place for a bit. The double-sided tape will help to hold this in place while the glue sets up. And here is, I believe, my first ever purple die cut doily. Well, it's more of a lavender, but I think this might be the first time I've ever made one of these. I think it just coordinates really nicely with this collection, and white would have been a little bit lost here. So you see I'm going over quite a ways to the left-hand corner, kind of adding it so that it's more focused on the bottom portion of this flap. And then I've got my tag, which was part of the collection, a image cut apart. I did use a tag die that was slightly smaller so that I could have a little bit less of a footprint and show more of my layering patterns underneath. There's an eyelet here, a white eyelet that I thought matched the little mummy. And I used some beautiful organza ribbon from Really Reasonable Ribbon. It has a metallic stripe. And I thought that was a perfect size to go through that eyelet. And then I did put this up on a spacer so that we can build a little dimension. Previously, I mentioned that we're going to get our sentiment from the sticker sheet. So I cut this out where there was a border. The sticker originally was a little bit larger, and so I wanted it to be a better scale. And then I just put a little bit of my double-sided tape on that. And the first thing I want to do is just line it up here so that I can get it exactly where I want the bottom of those words to line up with the tag. And so I'll add this all together now. I think that looks really sweet. Got a coordinating flower arrangement here made with a combination of Little Birdie craft flowers, and then here's that magnolia that I go back to quite often with the center swapped out and changed for a gold double head stamen to coordinate. I use my Lawn Fawn stitch leaf set again, which I have quite often during this series. I think you can tell how much I love it. The larger one in the back I cut with a black glitter paper, and then this smaller one may not be as easy to see, but it has a very different edge to it, so it's a definite layering piece, and I cut that from a vintagey orange cardstock. So to complete the arrangement, there's just a little netting and twine, and then a bow that's made from that same coordinating ribbon. And this is just going to go all the way down here to the bottom. And now you can see how adding all that extra real estate with this top square helps to give me enough space for my finishing details. So I'm just going to secure that with some hot glue and then bring in my charms. I picked just a couple of small bats here and tied them. I will add them as I do with a little string and hot glue. Then I'll just clip the excess and cover the top with a button to hide those cut strings. Got some sequins here, and I wanted to coordinate with the trim. So these are kind of an olivey green, and I just want to add them to the top here of my tag to kind of create a little balance. You can adhere those with our Tombow. So then I've got myself a nice little bow tied here to secure all these layers, and I did go ahead and just remove the excess by cutting my trim at an angle so it won't fray. So that's it for our final project for day 13 of our Halloween series for 2022. I hope everyone really enjoyed these tutorials as much as I enjoyed creating them. Big thanks to all my peeps for all the kind feedback and for participating in the question of the day. It's so much fun to connect with all of you. Thanks going out to the tech hubby as well for all the help he gives me behind the scenes to make me look good. Of course, we're going to have our annual 13 days giveaway, and the winner will receive a $25 gift card for Amazon. If you'd like to enter your name for a chance to win, there are 2 simple rules. First, you must be a subscriber to the channel. Second, you must answer the question of the day for each of the 13 days of the series. Today's question is, which of the projects we shared during the series was your favorite? This contest is open to residents of the continental United States only. You can enter as soon as you see this video on October 4th through midnight Eastern Standard Time, October 10th. We'll draw the name at random in our next video on October 12th, and good luck to all who winner. Remember, you can find links to our social media sites, as well as the products I mentioned in the description below. And as always, I'm wishing you a happy and productive day, and I thank you so much for watching. Bye!